name is Nicole. I'm a producer for the Remembering Them podcast. The podcast is a platform for people to share stories and memories of their loved ones who have passed away. The podcast was created in memory of Dad, Bob Cecil. May he rest in peace. Your host, Mark, Ryan, and Luke acknowledge the rich history and importance of storytelling within the indigenous culture.
My name is Jorgi Skeen, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet here today. Today we're meeting in Meanjin, and those traditional owners are the Yagara and Turrbal people. And I'd also like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and acknowledge my people, the Gubbi Gubbi people, and extend that acknowledgement to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening in today.
Hello, Ryan. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, Mark. Is it just you today?
Just the two of us.
Well, just us, but
however that song goes, yeah. Luke is away. I do know why he's away. He had a schedule clash, an appointment clash, actually. As people would know if you're watching, if you have watched us on YouTube or if you've seen, I don't know, any clips of us in media when we're recording. Luke has luscious long locks, and he's got a clashing hairdressing appointment.
He did tell me last week he was thinking about highlights.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
think that
I
could
thought it was
be-
perm, maybe perm and highlights.
Ooh. Well, he's told us two different things.
Yeah,
Is he even at the hairdresser? then?
he'll get his normal shampoo, blow dry, wash, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll look
Whatever
fantastic.
whatever our
way.
partners normally get at the hairdressers. I think that's what Luke is booked in to do.
That's right. Yeah. Straight into the female capacity. Absolutely.
Well, hope it goes well, Luke, and we look forward to having you back with nice, clean,
Let that hair out next time. Yeah.
shiny hair.
Yep.
Made on to the clues for our guest. We are after a city, and I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm 99.99% confident that we have not had a guest from this city.
Okay. That's pretty high, but not certain.
That's your clue number one. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Play along at home, as always. See if you can guess this city before Ryan. Clue number one. This city made history by hosting the first UN Environment Assembly in 2014, bringing together representatives from nearly 200 countries to tackle global environmental issues.
Cape Town.
Not Cape Town. Good guess. First UN Environment Assembly in 2014. Not Cape Town. Clue number two. Wonder if anyone got that at home. Highly doubtful. It's a pretty difficult one.
Pretty good.
Clue number two. This city runs the world's most successful elephant rescue and rehabilitation programs, helping orphaned elephants return to the wild.
Okay. So we're probably in like Thailand, Africa, or India or something like that. I'm guessing Thailand, elephants, Africa, elephants. Let's stick with the South African thing, Johannesburg.
Not Johannesburg. You went from Asia, way over back to Africa.
Well, yeah, that's how I think. It's a big circular
I was thinking,
reasoning.
Fun fact, 2019 World Cup, I spent some extra time in Malaysia and went to an an elephant sanctuary and helped, feeding and washing them. You basically volunteer your day and get to free labor basically for them, but it was cool. Cutting up bamboo and all their snacks and washing them. That was really
sick.
Cool. Yeah, highly recommended it. But not. You said Johannesburg, not Johannesburg.
Johannesburg, yeah.
Clue number three, third and final clue for you. There is a national park here that lies just 7 kilometers from the city centre, making it the only capital city in the world with a full wildlife park where you can see lions, rhinos, and giraffes with a city skyline in the background. That probably gives you a fairly decent shot at this.
Maybe. I've like Googled Mount Kilimanjaro and it's in Tanzania. And I don't know anywhere in Tanzania.
Not in Tanzania.
We're not in Tanzania? Or did you say we are?
No, we're not.
Okay. Oh, shit. All right. So I give up.
Okay, the city we're in is Nairobi in
Oh
Kenya.
God. Yeah, right.
So
Is
clue
it and is
number,
Kilimanjaro the one in the background?
I'm not sure. Maybe I'd have to ask our guest. Clue number two, the city, the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust is one of the most successful elephant rescue rehabilitation places. And then clue number three, Nairobi National Park is the national
Wow.
park that lies just 7 kilometers from Nairobi city centre. Nairobi is the vibrant capital of Kenya, known for its unique blend of modern city life and untamed nature, with a full wildlife park, as we mentioned, just minutes from the city centre, not meters. As a major hub for tech, diplomacy, and culture in Africa, it's home to international institutions, innovative startups, and a dynamic mix of traditions and urban energy. Today's guest is a human rights advocate and content creator working as a communications officer for an NGO focused on sexual and gender minorities. She's passionate about mental health advocacy, using her digital platforms to spark awareness and open dialogue. And a proud soon-to-be cat mum, she finds joy in gardening, DIY crafts, and creating thoughtful gifts for friends. And she also happens to be the first in her family to travel abroad. So from Nairobi in Kenya, we are welcoming today Peace Loise. So welcome to the Remembering Them podcast, officially Peace. Thank you very much for joining us all the way over from Nairobi in Kenya.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
We're super excited to have you on. The first piece that I've ever met, and the first person that I've met as well, and Ryan, I think, but definitely the first guest that we've had on from Nairobi in Kenya, or I think in Africa in general.
Yeah, we might have someone
Wow.
from South Africa, but definitely not Kenya. Yeah, Kenya's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a privilege. When I received the DM, I was so happy because one of the things I was scared of happening once my brother died is that he would be forgotten. And then I see a DM from Remembering Them podcast. I'm like, wow, okay.
Cool.
Well, that's great. Well, I mean, we're absolutely honored having you on. So you mentioned your brother there. Would you like to tell us a little bit about him? Tell us his name and what happened to him.
So my brother's
Oh, sorry, that was my fault. Sorry, Pete, say that again. So your brother's name and what happened to him.
So my brother's name is Martin Mutwiri. He was 32 at the time of his death, born in 1994. So I'm older than him with 3 years. And what happened to him is sort of like not a mystery, but it's still not very clear. But basically, when my family received the news of his ailment, he was in the ICU. He used to work as a teacher, and my parents were called in and were told, your son is very ill and he's been admitted to ICU. So they get there. He was plugged into the machines. They didn't even get time to speak to him. And then they went back home to bring a few things. And then when they came back, they were told he was no more. And so my brother was living with his fiance at the time. And according to the fiance, my brother had been given some concoction to drink by his colleagues at work. And basically they had mixed some alcohol, some fruits here and there. And when he drank the concoction, he fell ill and he assumed it was just a normal hangover and he decided to just wait it off. One day passed, the next day came, he was still not feeling better and he calls the friends and he's like, are you guys sick? Because for me, this thing has gone bad. And they told him that they were fine. And so it's like, okay, maybe it's just my body reacting differently. And so he didn't take it seriously. The girlfriend still also didn't take it seriously. Then now the following day on the 7th of February, that's when he was taken to hospital. And when he was being taken to hospital, the girlfriend, the fiance was telling us that he had lost his sight. They opened the curtains in the house and he's like, I cannot see anything. And that is when the fiance was like, something is amiss here. And when he got to hospital, he was walking by himself, but he was being assisted because of his sight. And when they did the postmortem and everything, the doctors said it was ethanol poisoning.
Ethanol
So,
poisoning.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so the case is currently in court. The person who had mixed the concoction was arrested, and he is currently in police custody. And I think there's going to be a mention of the case next month.
Holy crap. And nobody else had the same side effect? It was just him?
It was just him.
Hmm.
Yeah, so when the interrogations were done by police, they said there was foreplay because the other people were not affected, and even the guy who had done the mix up of the drinks was kind of sketchy, and he wasn't clear on what actually he had put in the drinks.
Wow, interesting. And is he arrested, that guy?
Yeah, he's in police custody as we
Wow.
speak.
When did this
Yeah.
happen?
Early this year.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you mentioned
February.
February. So February this
February.
year. I wasn't sure if it was this year or last year, but that's very, very recent.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And
It's a very strange experience, even for us as a family. Because my brother was not like someone who was an alcoholic or anything. And even when the fiance was telling us the story, he was laughing it off and saying, ha ha ha, it was just like fun and games. It was nothing serious. So, yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. I'm very very much speechless after that story. It's just there's so much, I guess, obviously more to be uncovered and more information to come out of this as I guess as the case progresses and they find out more information. Peace, what was your reaction to your brother passing away? Because I guess that you and your family and even if your his fiance would have just thought it's he's become sick, he's reacted wrong to this drink, but he'll be okay, like a really bad hangover, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was not even informed that he was unwell. I only got a message saying that he had passed. And I was just full of questions. And the message read, your brother has passed after a short illness. And I immediately called my sister. And of course, everyone was so distraught. And so I had to wait it out and go home because I don't live close to home. I live in Nairobi, and my family lives in a different town in local area in Meru. So when I went home, that's when like I was told the story of what happened. I was in uttermost shock when the news was broken to me. I was actually at work. I couldn't believe it because we had just spoken with my brother. January 29th is my birthday. He had just called and told me a happy birthday, my sister, and then I hear a week later he's no more. So it was very, very shocking to me.
Yeah, it really is unbelievable. I'm completely speechless with how that's come about, and I'm sure how you've found out about it and the things afterwards that um and at such a young age as well, Peace, with his whole, it's a bit of a cliche, but his whole life ahead of him, I guess, with his soon to be married and I'm sure maybe family plans and career plans and everything else.
Yeah. So when now immediately after he passed, my parents didn't even have time to to even like process everything. They were now following up with the police. There was evidence that needed to be collected. They needed to go take his clothes to the police. The police needed to go to his house and even like collect samples. There was just a lot that happened in the week after. My parents were not even resting. Every day they were just following up with the police until the police said, "No, this is enough evidence." They even had to also to go to the hospital because the hospital there was suspicion of negligence. Because they were like, if you couldn't handle the case, why didn't you refer this person to a higher level hospital? Yeah, so it was very, very difficult. And for me, when I when I went home, I was not aware of what was going on. And so there was a bit of a conflict between my parents and I, because I did not know that this is what had happened to him. I wanted to understand what was happening, but they didn't even have time to explain it to me. So it was just a lot of confusion.
Peace, how do you, which we talked about very early on about remembering your brother, how do you remember him, and how do you describe him as a person?
My brother was my best friend. Growing up, we grew up like really, really close. We were very, very tight. He used to trust me with everything, even including his dressing. When he was about like 7, 8, and when a kid is already that age, the parents are like, "No, I think you can manage and put your clothes on yourself." And he would call me and say, "Oh, Peace, I don't know what to wear. Can you come and help me dress up?" And I'd go and dress him up if we were going to church. And my brother, when he was younger, he was a very silent individual, but he was very close to me, and we used to be such chatterboxes together. And people would be like, "Okay, what do you tell each other?" Because when we are interacting with him, he's very quiet. He doesn't share anything. And I got to see his inner world when other people were not able to see it, including my parents. And that is something I really treasure, that we were able to build that foundation. And so when we grew up, it's, of course, life gets in the way, but there was always that special bond we had. And so that's how I remember him. One of the pictures that I post often is myself and him. I think we were under 10 years, and we had gone to see my grandmother, and we went to visit like a river, and we took a photo there together. And I usually post and say, "I will always remember us this way." The song by Bradley Cooper. Yeah.
So, and that's a wonderful memory to hold on to, Peace, and you obviously have that photo evidence to remember back that day. Do you have any other, whether that's you growing up or more recently as adults, any favorite story or memory or a special moment that you'll hold fondly?
Yeah, I actually have many memories. One of the memories I have is of us going home together. So because we used to live away from home, the tradition was that in December, Christmas, everyone has to be home. So I'd travel before him, a few hours before him, because he was living closer home, and we would meet at a certain stop and say, "Okay, we are gonna meet here and then go home together." And then we'd go home together. And then we'd get home, we were just inseparable. We would chat, talk like the whole night, and my mom would come and tell us, "You guys, these stories you're having are too many. It's already 2 a.m. Can you go to sleep and you'll continue talking in the morning?" Yeah, so those are the memories I was actually remembering today, and I'm like, okay, those are the memories I really cherish. I also remember when he got the job, that's his first job as a teacher. He invited me to go and see where he used to work, and we went on a hike. We went to this like beautiful waterfall, and we just spent our day there, just bonding and talking and sharing our experiences. So I come from a very like traditional family that is very conservative, and that has been a challenge for us as siblings, because now there's that generational misunderstanding between my parents and I. And so, because we were the ones who had noticed it even before other siblings, so we have three other siblings. So we would sit with my brother and find, what is wrong here. Why is it that we are not able to open up to each other? Why is it that our family is not like this? And basically, we were trying to create a different tradition for us, for our future families. And he'd be like, "Okay, when I have my family, this is how I want to treat my kids. This is how I want to run my family." And I would tell him the same thing. And so when he got engaged, he called me and told me, the lady I've been dating, we've decided to make it official. And one of the traditions he actually wanted to break was the formality of traditional marriages. And he had said he doesn't want to do that because he felt it was like a lot of performative. It was performative. So he had decided to not do the traditional wedding. And that is something my parents did not like. But for me, it was something that we bonded over. And so that experience when I went to see him was really dear to me. And then now from me going to visit him, he also came to Nairobi. And one of the things I had put on my bucket list is that I was gonna go to, there's one of the tallest buildings in Nairobi. I had never been to the rooftop, and I had said I wanted to go to the rooftop. And I had tried on my birthday to do it by myself, but it just didn't work out. And somehow when my brother came to Nairobi, we checked the box together, went to the rooftop, took some really beautiful photos, some beautiful videos. I actually have a video of him speaking on video. I had been scared that I don't have a recording of his voice, and I went through my Google photos the other day and I found that video, and I was like really, really happy that we got to share that together. After that, we went and had a drink. We used to do things that were taboo, like even like drinking together and having these visitings together. So those are some of the memories I really like hold dear to me.
What are some of those lessons, Peace, that you have learnt from Martin? You mentioned the things that he wanted to break and do differently in the future with his family. Are there things that you learned from him, either most recently or maybe when you were growing up, that you will remember him by? Some lessons, life lessons even?
This is a paid partnership with BetterHelp. Hey Luke and Ryan, life gets heavy sometimes, especially when grief hits. For me, that weight often shows up as anxiety.
Yeah, it's not always one big thing. Sometimes it's just life piling up, work, relationships, trying to hold it all together. Suddenly, I'm anxious and don't know why.
Totally. I used to think anxiety meant panic attacks, but for me, it's more like overthinking every choice or feeling like I'm never doing enough.
And it can even hit on good days. Out of nowhere, I'm spiraling over things that haven't even happened yet.
It's easy to feel alone in it, but you're not.
That's why we're talking about our paid partner, BetterHelp.
BetterHelp connects you with credentialed therapists who can help manage anxiety and more.
Most people go to BetterHelp for anxiety, and 69% feel better after just 6 weeks.
Getting started is simple. Fill out a quick questionnaire and get matched with a therapist. If it's not a fit, you can switch at any time.
Their support team is super responsive, and with over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 Trustpilot rating, it's a platform you can count on.
So let BetterHelp help manage your anxiety so it doesn't manage you.
Click the link below or go to betterhelp.com/rememberingthem for 10% off your first month.
Stephen?
Okay. So one of the lessons I have learned from my brother is having individual relationships. For example, like when we have those family conflicts because of the nature of my family, some of our siblings are not able to compartmentalize and see this is my relationship with my mom and my dad, but I can also have a separate individual relationship with my sibling. So my brother taught me that we can see each other as siblings, we can share our secrets, we can share our experiences and our lives, and that does not have to be influenced by how our parents see us and how our parents come into our lives. We can have separate relationships with them and also have our own relationship, which is independent of our parents. That is the number one lesson I have learned from my brother. The second lesson I learned from my brother is going for what you want. One of the things my brother has done, even from being a very conservative person, is that he was a biker. So when he got a job, he saved up and he bought this really cool bike, bought all the gears, joined the biker community in Kenya, and they would do these trips across Kenya. And that was not something conventional to us in the village, because in the village, you're conservative, you don't join like this kind of hobbies. And so he challenged me to also go for what I want and what I'm passionate about. And I think that is something that also made him stand out a lot as a teacher, because normally in Kenya, traditionally teachers were very, like, they were old, they were very conservative, uptight. But now being a biker is such a cool hobby he had. And that is something I ensured was really captured when we were doing his eulogy. I reached out to the bikers that he had been friends with, and some of them came to the funeral. So seeing them there really affirmed me and affirmed the choice I had made to make sure that he's not forgotten, and we capture his essence even in his memorial and his celebration of his life. So another lesson I learned from my brother is boundaries. One of the things my brother used to do that was not a tradition in my home is normalizing saying no. If he doesn't like something, he'll just say he doesn't like it, and you're not going to force him into something that he doesn't want to do. So that is also one of the things I'm carrying on with me, that I can say no to traditions, I can say no to things that don't serve me. And when I saw how he had started living his life so beautifully, so peacefully, by just establishing healthy boundaries, I was like, this is what I want. And sometimes that cost us, because when you create boundaries with people who maybe want to take advantage of you, or people who have been benefiting from you not having those boundaries, sometimes it creates distance between you two. And that is something I saw him try to he faced that. And even if he faced that, he still didn't stop choosing what he wanted and saying, this is what serves me, and I am not going to compromise that for anyone. Yeah, so that is also one thing I'm taking on with me from his life. Another lesson I have learned from my brother is being able to choose your chosen family. So you can have your traditional family, but also you can have a chosen family. When he got employed, he would call me and tell me, Peace, I've realized something very interesting around here. The people I'm interacting with are very different from the culture we grew up from. They are open, they are supportive of each other, they meet often, they communicate often. And he was like, I think this is what we should be doing. So by him sharing all these experiences he was learning from other people and telling him, can you imagine, my friend his dad calls him and they go and just hang out and play games and even like have a drink. That is not something that happens in my village or in my family. And so he'd tell me, hey, these things are different, but this is what I think we should actually be doing. So that is also another lesson I have learned from him that I'm also carrying on and implementing in my life.
So sounds like Martin was very cool and not afraid to challenge the status quo. You mentioned his I guess learning to be able to say no and stand up for what he believes in. Are there other quotes or sayings or a phrase that you'll remember him by?
Quotes or phrases I would remember him by. I'd say one of the things that I would remember him by is how we used to talk to each other. We had this thing we used to do together. Because when we grew up, we didn't know how to speak our mother tongue well. So when we grew up, we stopped speaking it, and we decided to bring that tradition back. So when we'd call each other, we'd start speaking in Kimeru, and it would sound funny at first, but would make so much fun of it. And he'd say Muga, my sister, and I would say Muga, my brother. And also I remember we had also like a special like greeting. So in our home we don't like usually hug a lot, And because of that, we used to have like an awkwardness. Do we hug? Do we handshake? So we established a sort of like comfortable hug, not very tight. It looks like a bro, the way bros hug. So we would hug like that with him. And that is something I really, really like miss. And even if it was not, conventionally embraced, I would feel the love. I would feel how much he cares about me. And yeah, so I don't think I have like specific phrases, but the fact that we used to communicate in our mother tongue, just the two of us, that is something that I really, really like hold and cherish dear to my heart.
And what did that? Please excuse me if this is completely off, but you said Muga, my brother, Muga, my sister. What is that? Is that just a greeting piece?
Yeah, it's a greeting.
Okay, cool. Awesome. How will you remember him? How will you preserve his legacy? How will either you, along with your other siblings, or you and his fiance, remember him and keep his memory alive going forward?
So one of the things I had mentioned that I was scared that his memory would be forgotten. And so when I was sharing this news of his demise on my platform, my followers fundraised and raised some money. And so I am thinking of what to do with the money. One of the things I really wanted to do was create like a memory book where I take photos of him, of me, of our family together, of him and his fiancée, and just create like a memory book and share and have many copies delivered to people who are close to him. Another thing I want to do is, so my brother was a teacher, and during the funeral, the kids he used to teach came to the funeral, and it was just so beautiful to see them sharing how impactful my brother had been as their teacher. And so when I am okay and I feel like I have the strength to go and talk to these kids, I'll go back to the school and I want to do like a recording of the stories that they have, the favorite stories they have about him being their teacher. And I don't know how I'm going to document them, but I want to just have that documented in a way. Because when the kids came, so he was a high school teacher, and you could just tell how distraught they were by his death, because they spoke very highly of him. They said how he used to teach was not the ordinary way. He used to use unorthodox methods that made lessons and classes so much fun. And they would say how much he was their favorite teacher. So I really want to go and speak to these kids just to experience my brother through their eyes. As for the fiance, currently we are not really communicating as much because the both of us are still going through our grief separately. But when I had not met her. Can you imagine? I had not met my brother's fiance until he died, and I don't even like to blame anyone for that. There were reasons that I can't share here. But when I met her, she shared a very similar feeling to me in how we saw my brother. And so I also want to have a sort of like relationship with her. She even has like songs she has written about my brother. So even like taking those songs and even sharing them on my platform, that is also something I plan on doing once I feel like I am okay. Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful idea around the school kids. What ages or what grade was he teaching, Peace?
I don't know the Australian version of so the kids are between the age of 13 to 17.
Okay, yep. So what's that,
So
Ryan? High, sort of junior high school,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
middle
junior
high
high
school or
school.
something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
They, I mean, it'll be a good age and it'll be an interesting perspective, as you mentioned. You know, they'll give you an unfiltered opinion and share their stories and memories of him. So I think that's a wonderful idea when, you know, as you said, when you're feeling up to it and you're ready to do that.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful idea. Peace, I did have a question for you around advice. So you mentioned there just quickly that you're still in your grief process and in your grief journey. If you have advice for anyone else that might be going through something similar to yourself, maybe not specifically in terms of an accused passing, but with some complications there, obviously, but maybe a sibling, someone that has lost a sibling that they're particularly close to, like you were with Martin. What advice would you give for someone that might be going through something similar to yourself?
The Remembering Them podcast is supported by My Legacy Message. How do you want to be remembered? My Legacy Message provides a service that delivers a personalized keepsake video to your loved ones, often as a surprise after you passed. My Legacy Message, be remembered.
It was losing my brother was one of the most devastating experiences of my life. In 2018, I lost my grandma, and that was also very, very devastating. However, we were not very close with my grandma, but she was still like a very dear person to me. One of the things I say is that I lost two people who I feel like understood who I was, and they didn't judge me, and they did not feel like I was wrong for how I was living. And so with losing a sibling, it can be very difficult because especially if you grew up like being close. First of all, we used to be told we are twins with my brother because of how close we were, and even our age gap is not big. So losing a sibling is not like, it's not an easy thing. And for me, I think I have been learning as I go. I did not have any formula of how to deal with this. It caught me off guard. And so one of the things that I can say is to allow yourself to feel. As humans, experiencing negative emotions can be so daunting, and it pushes us to want to avoid feeling, especially with grief. Grief is not something you want to walk towards. You want to run and to hide and not to not feel it. But in the feeling of the grief is what brings us to the other side, closer to healing. And so one of the things I'd tell the listeners today is to allow yourself to feel. There's no formula to grieving. Just allow yourself to feel. And with feeling is just letting yourself go through those emotions, processing them. If it's crying, you can cry. If it's journaling, you can journal. For me, I used to, when in Feb, March, of course, those early months, it was a lot of crying, a lot of like being in just that deep pain. But also now connecting myself to my brother has helped me to be in a better space. And I do this by sending him voice notes. On WhatsApp, I have his number. So when I wake up in the morning, I send a voice note to him and I say, "Hey, Martin, so I woke up thinking about you today. This is how I'm feeling." And then I'd tell him how my day is planned. Today I'm going to go to work. And when I finished my day, I'll send him a voice note and say, "Hey, today I had a crazy day. I wish you were here. I would tell you how my day went, but this is what happened." So I know I don't have the strength to handle this day, but I know you're there watching over me. And even from the way you lived your life, I know I got this. So connecting yourself to your loved one in the ways that you can, has also helped me. I was unable to look at my brother's photos for a very long time. Right now, I can look at them, but I had struggled to even look at the photos. But if you have photos of your loved one, you can post them, try and see the the impact this person had on you. Like when I shared the photo I told you before about like us being those innocent kids and remembering him that way, it kind of like relieves the pain of feeling that loss and reminds me of that bond we had. So when I feel like I'm not strong enough, I remember how beautiful our friendship was, and it really anchors me. Another thing I'd share is to not copy anyone's story. Your story is your own. And with that, it means grief is very personal. It's a very personal experience. You might have lost your brother. I have lost my brother, but he's your brother, or they're your brother. It's not Martin that you lost. I lost Martin. So I cannot expect someone to understand how losing Martin would feel, because that is personal to me. So realizing that, okay, I lost my sibling, and this person lost their sibling, but yes, they're grieving this way, and this other person is grieving that way. My style of grieving is not different. Just because I'm not crying does not mean I'm not feeling the pain of losing my brother. So comparison in grief is something you should really avoid. I remember when I posted that I had lost my brother, and there was a close friend of mine who had also lost their brother like a year before. And I said that when I went to the brother's funeral, I now understand, I have a context of why they were behaving the way they were behaving. And people are telling me, you're comparing yourself to this person. I've never even seen you post your brother. This person had a closer relationship with the brother. They were living together. So it's like you're acting like your grief is as of equal measure to them. And yeah, that is now something I realize. You shouldn't compare your grief to somebody else's grief. Another lesson I would share with you is let people support you. You cannot grieve alone. Grief itself is very, very isolating. If there's something that I've learned, is that I have a circle of people who actually like care about me and support me. And through those difficult times, I leaned onto them, because there's nothing I could have done for myself. I couldn't even cook for myself. I couldn't care for myself. So I leaned onto my friends. I leaned onto my community. And I just accepted that the point I'm at, I just need help. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to lean on people who are there for you, and to let them carry the things you're not able to carry, because at that time you actually need that help. So yeah, that is what I can tell people who have gone through this, who are going through this process. This is, even if it's a sibling or it's a parent, it's the same thing. For me, another thing I would mention is letting go of the relationship you'll never have with your sibling, because that is something you have been robbed of. Oh, I wanted to attend my brother's wedding. I wanted to be an auntie to his imaginary children, but those children will never come. And so living in the future of what could have been will make you even get more stuck in the grieving process, because now you're living with a wishful thinking. So letting go of what could have happened and embracing what already happened and cherishing those memories as well.
Really great
Can I share
advice.
something else, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Final thing.
Yes. Yeah,
Choosing joy. That is a lesson I was taught by my boss. Choosing joy, because when I got into grieving, I did not want to be here anymore. I was like, if my brother is not here, what is the point of living? What is the point of being here if my brother is not here? So one of the things that I was encouraged to do is to choose joy and to choose life every day. And that might be in the simplest of ways. Waking up and drinking water is choosing life and choosing joy. Waking up and brushing your teeth is also you choosing life, because people who are alive, they brush their teeth. Yeah, so just those small moments of choosing life, stacking them up, eventually you start to build your life around that grief. Grief will never go away completely. You will now build life around it, and the grief will get smaller, and then now your life experiences start getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Amazing advice piece. Every little bit of there, I felt like we could package that up into a nice little book and really give that away to people. That's a wonderful piece of advice. Thank you for all of those wonderful pieces of knowledge that you're living through. And to be fair, it's been such a short period of time, but you've articulated them beautifully. I have one final question for you for the main part of the podcast. Traditionally, it's a most difficult question. If your brother was here in front of you today, what would you say to him?
Oh, yeah, that is a very, very, very difficult question to answer. I don't even think I would have words.
Would you give him a bro hug or a really tight?
Give him just a really, really big
Full hug.
embrace,
Yeah.
just a big hug. Sometimes I imagine seeing him again and what that would look like. I think I'll just give him a big, big hug and just tell him how much I love him and appreciate him for existing in the world that I existed. At the same time, I existed, for being born in my family, and just tell him that I appreciate the impact he had in my life. Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. I think that's
It's
a
pretty
wonderful.
standard. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Mark does this deliberately.
Yeah.
So
It's a wonderful answer, and I think from what we've heard about your relationship with Martin, I think it sounds like it's absolutely accurate and something that you would absolutely do, and yeah, I can picture that, I guess, in my imagination. So thank you for answering that, and thank you for coming onto the podcast and being vulnerable and sharing your story. I know you're right in the midst of the grief journey, but I have no doubt that you would have helped someone out there listening to this. And also, I think the second part of it that we tell a lot of our guests, and I guess is the reason that one of the big reasons you came on as well, is to remember Martin and share stories and memories of him, to keep his his memory alive, and you've done that. So we appreciate it and so grateful and honored for you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark. I'm looking forward to hearing the episode. I'll also share it with other people in my circle. And yeah, thank you so much for this experience and for bringing my dream to life of remembering my brother and keeping his memory alive.
Thank you, Peace. And look, this is something that you can have forever. Well, it'll be on, it'll be on the internet, it'll be in the podcast world, so you can always listen back to it. And whenever you're feeling like you need to listen to stories and memories of Martin.
Thank you so much.
So Ryan, that was Peace from Nairobi in Kenya.
yeah, man.
First
time.
one, yeah, as I mentioned early on, first person from Nairobi. I think I have to correct myself, because I think we did have someone from Africa previously, although they do live in Brisbane here. If you remember Muda, very early on, like one of our first
Yeah, I do remember
20 episodes. Yeah,
Would I live here?
he lives here, yeah, in Brisbane, but he's originally, like, all of his family are back
Oh,
in
yes, you're right.
back in Africa. Yeah,
His
yeah.
dad was big on the scenic rim.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and
Wasn't it? Or the Great Dividing Range.
Great
or
Dividing
something?
Range. Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Oh, man.
another word. But Peace was the first person we've had from Nairobi.
That's so
And
great. Yeah.
yeah.
Man, interesting. Yeah. I was wondering what her early childhood would be like, and you'll only hear that if you're in Patreon.
Yes.
So if
It's
you want to know
totally
what
different,
it's,
hey.
oh my God, it's worth knowing.
Yeah.
Worth getting access for. Yeah, man, I'm very interested in what it's like to grow up in Kenya, and she's a village girl, which I guess would be like a
Yes.
country
That was
country
her word.
girl
That was her
or a
words,
country
by the
boy
way, as
here.
well. Not yeah.
Come from small town, small village to the big city.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty different.
Yeah. What
Very
an amazing
cool.
story.
Yeah.
Martin, obviously there's a
Oh.
lot. I mentioned there's a lot to unfold there, and I know we keep saying this, that you think you've heard it all, but
Oh man.
we certainly haven't had someone that has been the subject of an investigation, and
Have we not?
I don't think so.
Isn't this
Yeah.
crazy that we're now at the point where we actually can't remember if we had somebody who had been murdered? Like, or like, I don't know. I think, yeah, maybe not. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm pretty confident we haven't. I'd have to
Yeah.
go back through the archives, but I'm pretty sure we haven't. And so
Yeah.
and obviously more to come out of this, and I hope that um, Peace and the family get a little bit of closure from
Yeah.
whatever else. But it sounds like she's um, progressing through her grief journey quite well. We mentioned that in the Patreon chat as well, that
Yeah.
she's doing amazingly. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's great hearing about Martin. He sounded like a um,
Cool guy.
cool
Yeah.
guy, but also introverted, but had a lot to say, and probably more so to Peace than anyone else. It sounded like the bond they had
Yeah.
was super super strong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes it such a shame.
Yeah, it does, and really young too. Early
Mm.
30s, 32, I
Yeah,
think.
32.
Peace,
Yeah.
Peace mentioned
God.
passed away. So I know
Yeah.
it's a cliche, but it's his whole life ahead of him.
Mm.
But the great piece of advice that Peace gave around not dwelling on the fact that you're not going to be able to experience his children or the wedding or whatever else. So
Gotcha,
yeah, that was a really great chat. It's really
yeah.
grateful to meet Peace and hear the story of Martin. And you mentioned the Patreon, and we got to see her. She switched on the camera for the Patreon chat, so that was very cool as well
Yeah,
to see her
that's cool.
smiling face, and she's doing really well. So just a reminder to support the podcast, to jump on the Patreon, to support the podcast in a way by $6 a month US, $9 a month Australian, to get access to those exclusive chats. We did speak to Peace about her childhood growing up, which was really cool to hear, and also her travel. She's traveled, being the first of her family to travel overseas, and has got future plans to travel as well. And we did throw in Brisbane there as a potential destination to meet us. That would be really cool. So jump onto the Patreon, a way to get access to those exclusive chats to our guests, but also just a way to support the podcast as well, to keep us doing what we're doing. Reminder to give this podcast a rating and review, 5 stars ideally, and write some nice comments on there. That'd be really cool. If you enjoyed this episode with Peace, please share the episode with your family or friends or colleagues or whoever might need to hear a story like this. I'm sure that it will certainly help someone out there. And I did mention a Peace that she gave some amazing pieces of advice when we asked that question in the podcast. So I'm very confident that someone will get something out of this if you share it with them. And that goes for all of our episodes, by the way, as well. Share the podcast with anyone you think might be needing it. Speaking of needing things, reminder, we've got a partnership with the BetterHelp crew, so betterhelp.com/remembering them, which will give you access to 10 months. Sorry, not 10 months. That would be nice. 10%. 10%, let me correct that. 10% off your first month membership with them if you need to speak to a credentialed therapist, if you are struggling and need to speak to someone, if you're going through your grief process. So that link will be in our notes as well. Socials, give us a follow on all of our socials: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I was going to say Twitter, but TikTok, I think we're on there. And the My Legacy message service, last but not least, mylegacymessage.com.au, where you can leave video messages to your loved ones, often surprise delivered to them after they pass. Peace did mention in our chat with her that she thought she didn't have any video footage of Martin, but was fortunate enough to find some footage where it was a mountain. Did she mention they climbed together? They visited somewhere, and she had video footage anyway of Martin.
No, it was on top of a building.
Top of a building, that's right.
Yeah.
The tallest building in the city that
Yeah.
she had been meaning to go to, and then her and Martin visited that. That's right. I knew it was somewhere high, that building, but
pictured in the sky. Yeah.
But I'm sure that Peace would really love, retrospectively, of course, but if she had video messages from Martin to look back on and remember him by, the more the better. So that is a service that is available to you, mylegacymessage.com.au, and another supporter of the podcast. I think that covers everything, Ryan. What an amazing chat. What an amazing lady Peace is, and continue on shining a light and doing what she's doing in memory of Martin as well. So thank you for joining me, mate. Another good episode, and we look forward to the next one. Hopefully Luke can join us for the next one with nice, clean, long hair.
Don't worry about him.
Yeah. Okay.
Killed it. We're doing it before him, doing it after him. Easy.
Why don't we'll just book it when he has another hair appointment, our next guest.
Yeah, deliberately.
We'll make it clash on purpose.
I don't want him to slow it down.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. Looking
All
forward to
right.
the next chat. Love you.
That's
Bye.
good, mate. Love you, Tiger. See you, mate.
The Remembering Them podcast is created for entertainment purposes. Mark, Ryan, and Luke are not licensed mental health professionals. If you would like to discuss your mental well-being, several resources are available in Australia. Information about these services are available in the podcast notes. Please take the time to contact your loved one today and tell them how much you appreciate and love them.